Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Game, and we are returning to our Let's Play of War in the West, where we're playing as the Allies, of course. We have encircled quite a couple of Germans. We've cleared out the southern pocket. We're now going to clear out this sort of more northern pocket, and then ultimately going to bring forward our troops here as we are sort of in March, April 1944. We're also preparing for the invasion of France, but that is going to take a while. So let's see what we're going to do for the air phase, and then we're going to get into the details of other things. So for the usual orders, we've got a little bit of direct ground support here by 12th Fighter Command for the British, and a little bit by the Desert Air Force for the Americans. That's just a couple of fighter bombers mostly that are going to directly support any attacks. So I do anticipate that that will be mostly falling on these areas over here. We've also got Bomber Command, 12th Bomber Command. These are 2 engine aircraft that are going to strike here onto these remaining Germans, just to soften them up a little bit. And we've also got an attack here by Tactical Air Command. So these are the single-engine fighter bombers, which are going to run interdiction missions here. So primarily trying to interrupt supply lines for all of these Germans here that are sort of on this part of the front line. We might ultimately want to try to loop around to Venice over here, but I don't know yet. So for now, it's mostly just an interdiction mission to try to disrupt them a little bit. We've also got, of course, 15th Air Force still bombing the oil fields here in Romania. By the way, we can see that the Soviets are advancing here into southern Poland, northern Romania, sort of this area. So that's kind of interesting. But for now, we do still want to disrupt the oil production of the Germans, because I think that is having some great effect. Their synthetic oil refineries have mostly been destroyed, as we can probably see under industry, not friendly enemy here. You can see the synthetic oil plants here do mostly have damage of, well, more than 50%, and at 50%, these guys cannot actually run any production. So basically, let's say 25% chance means 25% damage means 50% chance that something is not producing. So 50% damage, as you can see over here, does mean that Black Hammer South is not going to produce anything. So most of these things have been really taken out of action. That's nice to see. And in regards to their oil production, you can likewise see that we've done quite a bit of damage here, including the area here around Romania. Basically, most of the Romanian oil fields here have already quite a bit of significant damage. But I do want to double up on that, because the weather forecast here is not looking great. So let's look at the air weather here. You can see it's mostly raining. There's a cold spell, but there's not really any snow yet. But the forecast here is that likely there's going to be a lot of heavy rain in Italy, and that basically does mean we cannot take off. So let's double down on that. At least they repair any damage, and that's going to be all right. Bomber Command is going to try to bomb the city of Kassel. So this is a very concentrated raid here on the city of Kassel by 880 bombers, heavy Lancasters and all of that. So these guys are going to disrupt them. It's a miscellaneous target here. It's mostly going to target the King Tiger and Tiger factories that are situated in Kassel. But it's also going to strike I think the vehicle, some of the other things, the V-weapon factory. So it's just a general disruption attack on Kassel. As you can see, we've pretty much messed up the rural area already. The Americans, meanwhile, are going to strike a little bit further to the north here in the Hannover, Hildesheim, Braunschweig region. And these guys are going to target also various different targets here. You can see there's a lot of truck production that is our primary target. We're also going to target the V-weapon factories, some of the tank factories, some of the oil that is situated over here. Yeah, let's do it like this. I think I like that. Right, so let's simply try to disrupt them there. You know what? I think I'm going to do that. No, it's going to be all right. And this is over 1,000 bombers escorted by more than 350 planes. So yeah, I'm feeling quite confident here that that is going to be a very nice attack pattern there. Lastly, we've got a couple of bombing missions here by our tactical air forces, so slightly smaller planes, slightly smaller payload. We're going to raid Dieppe itself, mostly to disrupt the harbour and prevent the Germans from building up too much naval interdiction at our landing sites, ultimately. But that's going to be more of a long-term thing. And then we're going to do something new, which we haven't done in a while at least. And that is, let me briefly check here. Yeah, maybe you should fly in not directly via this heavy concentration of AA over here. Can you sort of pass south of this? Yeah, I think that's going to be all right. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to do an airfield attack. And that does include striking at all of these aircrafts that are parked over here, because we've just seen that there are so many Kampfgeschwaders over here. You can see a lot of U-88s, so maybe we can take some of these guys out on the ground, and that's going to be nice. I also wanted to show you a couple of other things that I noticed, and that is in Hamburg over here, we should see the Jagdgeschwader 400. And that is interesting because these guys are using the Me-163, so the rocket interceptor with very limited range, very interesting German plane, probably not that worthwhile in terms of what it did in the war, but still interesting to see that they did use that and that they are using that in Hamburg. That's pretty much it. No, I think there's another one, another airfield over here that I wanted to show you. You can see there are a lot of HE-177s over here. So these are the very long-range, very, very weird German bombers with 4 engines, but sort of in 2 propeller arrangements, which engineering-wise were just a nightmare. But yeah, that's what the Germans have over here. Overly complicated German engineering, as usual. And then you've got a couple of air superiority missions that we're trying to run over here along Western Germany, basically to disrupt the Germans and hopefully bait them into air battles that are going to attrition them more than they're going to attrition us. So, without further ado, let's execute this and see what is going to happen over here as we are flying. Of course, this is going very fastly. We could increase the message level here, I think, to message level 5, for example. And then we get a lot of information here about, and you can see that the city is being bombed, that we're getting some information here. We could increase that even further and see what is being damaged by flak and everything over here. But that would be a little bit too much. So let's go to message level 1 over here and see what's going to happen on this very sort of overview level. We are incurring quite a couple of losses here, over 100 planes already, whereas the Germans are not really taking that many losses, so that's a little bit concerning. I don't know where we are taking all of these losses from. It seems mostly operational because the weather isn't great, but then again the weather isn't terrible either, so slightly concerned about the amount of losses that we are taking over here. I mean, yes, we can incur these losses more easily than the Germans, and we have more planes and pilots coming in, but still, a 2-to-1 ratio is not necessarily in our favor overall. Right, let's see what we've got over here. So, Fighter Command, you guys just shooting down a couple of German planes, really not that much to write home about. Bomber Command, you guys typically doing very badly, and that is the case again here. So you guys are striking Kassel. Let's have a look over here. So the Germans have an amazing number of night fighters still. 200 night fighters, that's nothing to be frowned at. Curiously enough, we are striking the air manufacturing things as well, because we are striking at night, and that is sort of difficult to aim at anything, it appears. Yeah, you guys didn't really even... Yeah, the Tiger yards were damaged a little bit. It just doesn't seem like we did any significant damage to the Tiger production facilities. Well, it does add up over time as we're sending in more and more strikes, but... Yeah, well, it might be okay. Yeah, okay, so you did fulfill your missions. You did take 36 casualties here. Against 7 of the enemy, it's not the worst that we've seen from Bomber Command itself. How about the tactical boys? So that looks a little bit more promising. So as we're doing these airfield attacks over here, we did take 6 casualties. Yeah, well, the enemy did formally not take any, but we do see that they have, that a couple of airplanes here were damaged probably on the ground. So that's a couple at least. What did we destroy over here? Show details, air losses. Yeah, okay, so an Me-410 and Junkers. It's okay. We are doing some damage here, so maybe that's going to be all right. Okay, but nothing to really. It's not a gigantic effort here. Right, and then we are on the sort of more interesting bit, and that is the American Air Force. You guys did take quite a couple of casualties here this time around. That's more than 40 planes on our side. On the other hand, a couple of Germans shot down as well. But all in all, it just doesn't seem that favorable. Yeah, but you can see we are more consistently really shooting down a large number of Germans here. Yeah, over here we should see in the air combat properly phase. Yeah. Fokker Wolves are intercepting us, but I'm guessing the Mustangs are shooting them down strongly. Yeah, the bombers are actually doing some damage here. No, that's all Mustangs. Okay, so yeah, really the Mustangs are sweeping in. These guys, as their experience here is dropping off, these guys do really suffer. And yeah, and these guys will not be coming home. So yeah, very nice to see. How about the damage on the target? Yeah, okay, so the vehicle production was pretty much obliterated. Oil production, lots of damage there. V weapon factory damaged, nice. Panther factory damaged, yeah. I think this is... Okay, I do like what the Americans are doing here. 8th Air Force doing fantastically. How about the 15th when it was bombing Plotsy? Okay, you are taking quite a couple of casualties here. Mostly probably due to flak and operational losses. But yeah, we are at least doing some damage here on these targets, although it's very rarely in the double digits, so yeah. Yeah, it does get more difficult to damage stuff that has already been damaged, but I guess it's okay. Right, 9th Air Force, you guys were doing the strikes on Dieppe itself. Yeah, seems like you did well over there. Didn't lose too much, so that's good too. And then we've got a couple of raids over here, nothing big, except this one maybe. Okay, lost 8 planes over here, 6 on the German side. Yeah, you know what, these ratios here, I think they're still fine. We are losing more than they are, but overall... And are you the Mosquitoes? Yeah, you are the Mosquitoes. So yeah, actually the Mosquitoes are not great fighters, especially when going up against single-engine fighters here. But still, I can very much live with that ratio. That's a good result for us overall. How about number 11 group then? Okay, yeah, sort of similar. We are losing sort of the similar amount of pilots than they are. But this time we are using Spitfire 9s, which are a little bit better. So that's good to see as well. I mean, admittedly, not every one of these pilots here will be killed, but some of them will bail out of their planes. And since we are fighting over Germany, they will be returning to fight another day. But it's not everyone. Okay, so number 13 group, you really weren't doing great over here. 71 planes from our side against 30 on theirs, and we're losing 13 aircraft. Why is that? We've got Spitfire 8. These guys should be good. Yeah, they have a couple of very experienced pilots over here, and they are indeed incurring most of the kills. They are taking some losses as well. Still, that is not a very good result. Okay, the Spitfire 8 here might be ready to be retired at some point. Nevertheless, all in all, I think we're doing okay over here. Yeah, and these guys really not flying that many missions. Okay, you guys did lose a couple of things, but not much. Okay, fine. Good. So that's that then. Mostly alright missions, I suppose. Hanover and Kassel obliterated. Kassel should be really shot up, I think. Let's have a look here at Kassel. So, you guys, yeah, you can see the Focke-Wulf factories, even though we didn't target them specifically, they did take took actually the brunt of the damage here. Tiger Works, slightly damaged. Rail Yard, slightly damaged. V Weapon Factory, only very slightly damaged, so that's an issue. But yeah, that's fine. And Hanover, yeah, Panther destroyed, vehicle destroyed. That's nice. A couple of things destroyed here and there. Stuke factories. Yeah, it's okay. I think I can live with that result. Okay, let's see what we can do on the ground side then. So, let's look at the pocket here first. Now, it seems like the Germans have evacuated this mountain hex, although they are still on this one. And that, I think, is the biggest issue here. So we do want to get rid of these mountain hexes because they're really difficult to dislodge guys from once they're on there. So can I move you up here? I can. You wouldn't have any movement points left. Sort of similar thing for you actually here. But you know what, that's gonna be alright. So yeah, let's bring you up there. And that is fine. Now, can I get rid of you guys with these 2 units? That's going to be tough, actually. Okay, how about if I brought you forward? 16. I'm not sure whether 16 is enough for deliberate attack with an armored unit. Plus, an armored unit on a mountain hex is actually not that great of an idea. So, let's do a deliberate attack here with these 3 guys and see whether that is going to be enough. And it is, so that's lovely. One of these groups is actually surrendering, so that's lovely to see. I don't know which one. Oh, the Hamengaren Panzer Division. That's actually great. That's 10,000 Germans that have surrendered over here. Very nice indeed. We shall look at what we actually took in terms of enemies over here. We're losing a couple of planes in this attack. We are losing a couple of tanks, but that's fine. Mostly, yeah, against 120 tanks on the German side. So, yeah, very great result, I would say. Very nice, actually. Good. And this hex is now considered ours, so that does mean that we can now do, let's say, a deliberate attack over here. We want to bring anyone forward. So this is a rough terrain hex, you know what? Let's bring these tanks forward. And then we can actually try to do a hasty attack over here. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, it is. So both of these guys are actually surrendering, so that's another 4,000 Germans gone, including a couple of tanks and other things, so that's lovely. Good. Can I bring you forward still? I can. Can't bring you into battle. Cannot bring any of you into battle, so that has to be alright over here. We do need to cut these guys off, and probably similar things over here. So I'm guessing we should actually attack here first, because this does mean... Okay, let's bring both of you forward. That's alright. So, okay, now we've cut off these guys from retreat over here. If we are now engaging these guys first, these guys have nowhere to retreat to. So, yeah, I think that is what we'll do first over here. You know what, let's just do a hasty attack here. I think that's going to be alright. They're actually surrendering. 2,000 Germans gone. We didn't take any casualties. Lovely to see. Good. Can we get rid of any other group here? Well, you guys, surprisingly, cannot pretty much move anywhere. It's not enough movement points for any of you guys. This is rough terrain? Yeah. So that should actually be enough, shouldn't it? Let's see. Can you attack both of you? You could. But you'd be a little bit shy. Okay, let's bring these infantry divisions here up as well. And that just might be enough. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's another 6,000 Germans gone. And that's actually part of the tank division there. So that's very nice to see. Good, I like it. This is Fallschirmjägers and Panzergrenadiers. These guys do have some good anti-tank... excuse me. These guys do have some good anti-tank weapons. And these guys here were actually refitting, which might be an indication that we probably don't want to move you around. Okay, there is... The river is sort of... Can I see the river, please? I don't think it's extending there, so we should be able to attack from here. But yeah, what can we do elsewise? You could move around, but yeah, then you couldn't do an attack, so I think we'll have to attack from here. And that does basically mean these guys are kind of strong, actually. So that's 3 movement points. I doubt whether 3 movement points are going to be enough to actually do any sort of attack here. So probably we do need to bring you south here, don't we? Okay, let's bring you here. So that I don't need to attack across the river. That's fine, and then we're going to do a deliberate attack here with all of these guys. That is fine. We are losing quite a couple of men here, but again, 10,000 Germans gone. I like it. I really, really do. Right, okay, so let's have a look over here. So I think it would be great if we didn't need to attack twice. So basically, I would like to occupy this hex over here, and we do have 1 unit here that can do that. So that's okay. Let's see. Deliberate attack over here. These guys are surrendering. Another 10,000 Germans gone. So let's actually look at the info screens here. What has been going on. No, not that's not this either. This? Yeah. Okay, so current turn alone, we've defeated 50,000 Germans at the cost of 1,000 on our side. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's just... 600,000 Germans gone in total is very, very nice for us. So... I'm extremely happy here. Good, I like it. So that does mean pretty much most of the German stuff down here has been eliminated. Now, oh, by the way, do notice that these guys over here do suffer from some supply issues here, as we have increased the interdiction levels there. Did we? Yeah, that does actually look kind of nice. I do like that pattern. That does mean we're mostly focusing on this side. I don't think there's going to be that much supply flowing through here. So that is pretty nice. But yeah, well, we could try to do some movements here, but for now I don't think we want to do that. I think we are much better off in holding off a little bit. You can see there's a lot of mud over here. So I don't necessarily want to strike forward here. There's the Lehr Motorized Brigade again. But notice one thing, and that is down here on the bottom of the screen. You can see that these guys are now using Panzerjäger 1s, which I find very fascinating, because that does mean that these guys are running out of the more modern versions of Panzers, like the Marders and the Stuks. So I am very happy to see that. Ooh, notice this. 21 Panthers over here. That's harsh. Do we want to do any attack here on the western part? Now, it would be great to advance somewhat towards Genoa and to maybe break out of this a little bit. And these guys do all look fairly weak, but I'm not sure whether we have enough resources here. We've got a couple of Polish divisions. All of these guys here are ready to be moved forward. But we probably can't move you forward very far. So, yeah. I think we are probably better off just concentrating these forces here on the front line. And I'll need to untangle some of these issues here because I dislike just how intertwined the British and American divisions are over here, including some of the other ones. Did we get in the Indian division yet? No. We are scheduled to receive an Indian division at some point, but we haven't apparently done so. At some point we'll also need to clear this out because this is bothering me that these guys are still around. Especially this infantry division over here. But these guys will also be kind of difficult to tackle. They are isolated, but they are not really suffering too much from supply issues yet. So we will need to look at that. Do we see any sort of convenient attack pattern that we could do? I would love to isolate these tanks down here. But I don't think we have the power to strike forward that far. And even if we look at these sort of more mobile divisions over here, well, we could send you forward a little bit. So we do have, let's say, 2 divisions or so that we can pull off from here. Maybe 3. So that does make 3 panzer divisions or tank divisions. We do have an infantry division over here. Why is it so weak? Probably there's heavy mod or something. Yeah, there is. So that does make about 5 divisions that we've got to spare. And we could try to do that to isolate these guys down there. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we do even... This is light mud. This is clear ground, actually. That's interesting. But there's heavy mud in these hills. And around over here. So yeah, I don't think there's any chance of us moving through there. Light mud. Light mud. Yeah, I don't see us moving out there. Could try to pull back against these guys here a little bit. But I really don't see the point. Well, the point might be to disrupt them and prevent them from digging in too much. Yeah, on the other hand, let's not overdo it. Let's build up our strength. Let's pull our guys forward. We're no rush over here. But I do think that is going to be a very nice way to go. Let's briefly look at the rail situation. So, yeah, I do think you guys here are starting to build this up. On this side, we've got you guys operating on that side. We have almost connected this rail line over here. So that's all very fantastic. And I do think if we're looking at the supply issues, we can see that a lot of supply was actually being brought up to Bologna. Yeah, you can see that these guys did handle almost 42,000 logistics, and they actually stored up a little bit, which is lovely to see. By the way, I do think that this is probably going to be the area around Bologna here is probably going to be one of the areas where we're going to stage a lot of bombers. I mean, especially a lot of these here areas can be built up a little bit, and we are building up the airfield in Bologna itself as well, because ultimately that is so close, especially to Austria, but also to southern Germany, that stationing our heavy bombers here is going to have a huge impact on the air war, especially in southern Germany. It's much, much closer than these guys flying in from the UK. And just having guys operating here under escort fighter cover, that's going to be great. We'll also need to think a little bit about what we're going to do with northern Italy, because we can certainly use the maneuverability around over here once at least that the winter rains do stop a little bit, and we can use this without there being mud everywhere. But at that point, just realize how few lines are running actually out of this and back to Germany. So we've got one rail line, there's Switzerland. So off the rail lines, we've got one running through southern Tyrol and Tyrol. So the Brenner pass through Innsbruck and to Bologna. Innsbruck to Bozen. That's the one line that they've got. Notice there's no north-south connection over here. And basically the only other ones that they've got are running through the Julian Alps over here. So Klagenfurt, Villach, Udine, Trieste. So only over here. So basically towards the west, it's only this rail line coming in and that rail line coming in. And if you were to cut, for example, Verona and Padova, that does isolate everything. This rail line is not running anywhere. These are only running through Switzerland, so that doesn't really count. So basically cutting these two hexes here would isolate everything from rail traffic towards the east. And towards the west, it's not much better. So going from north to south, you've got this rail line, which is a dead end. Then you've got a single rail line running through these part of the Alps. That's fine. No connection over here. Not even a connection running through this valley. And only the coastal line over here. So if you were to cut, for example, this hex over here to Nice, and let's say to Rhine, again, you'd basically completely isolate northern Italy. So in a sense, all of these northern Italian plains can be cut by just occupying 4 hexes. Now, we could try to get creative with paratroopers over here, but notice that the terrain is really not that suitable for that. You cannot really drop into a city. Urban terrain is very difficult. You cannot really drop onto any of these mountains. Dropping close to the sea always has the danger that you're going to be landing in the sea and you lose the unit. So we cannot do anything fancy here with paratroopers, but certainly we do have strategic mobility with our tank troops that are now sitting in this area over here, ready to strike into various directions. So yeah, I do look forward to encircling a couple of more Germans up over here. That being said, I think I'm going to put in a cut here. I'm going to move up a couple of units. Probably going to advance the German turn because I don't think that they're going to do anything very interesting. They would be foolish to attack. We're not really in any weak position over here. And just going to pull up a couple of a couple of units here towards the German lines. That being said, hope you enjoyed. Do leave a like and everything, and I'll see you around next time.